What's up, guys? This is the Board Game Roamer, and I'm trying something new. I've talked to a couple people. A couple of people have talked to me that are subscribers, and they said, "Why don't you do a vlog?" And at first, I was like, I don't know. I enjoy watching them. I just didn't know how well I'd do at doing them. But the more I thought about it, I thought, well, that's a good way for you guys to get to know me, and I can get to know you a little bit better. So what I want to do is just use this vlog to talk a little bit about me. And what I would ultimately like to do is, and I'm going to give credit where credit's due, Robert Oren, who, if you know anything about me and watched the intro to the channel, you know is one of the inspirations for me getting a channel, in addition to primarily Outer Limit Games and the Tau Ceti Planetary Crisis rules videos, solo playthrough, and rules explanation that I've did, which was the first set of videos that I did. But Robert, I watch him, and he's just a guy that plays games. He loves games. He loves the community. He loves to help people, and he just puts what he's got out there, and that's kind of what I want to do. And one of the things that he does that I think is really cool is like a community review where he either picks a game or a topic or something, and he has you guys would have us, and I'm a follower, so I say us as a follower of his. Send something in over maybe, what's your favorite game that's a dungeon crawler? What was your first game? What got you into gaming, etc., etc. So I want to do some of that. I'm going to do that every week, but I think that would be cool to do at some point. But kind of a little bit more about what my intro is about, why I started what I did. But for this one, a little bit about me. I do work full time, so I do this on the side at night or in the morning, depending on how late it is at night. It just depends. So that's why I don't have really an upload schedule, because it really honestly just depends completely on what's going on with me and all the other parts of my life and my full-time and sometimes full-time and part-time jobs, depending on what's going on and what I'm doing, and just the things that I do that are not part of the channel, that have nothing to do with board gaming. But I really do enjoy playing the board games. I did not start out as a board game guy. I started out in the video games. I had a couple consoles growing up. Had the original NES and the N64, which my sister and I do have one sister who still lives close by, within 30, 45 minutes, well, maybe an hour. Anyway, she's close by to where I'm at, so we see each other sometimes, other than just Christmas and Thanksgiving. And my parents actually live in the same town I live in, and my wife's parents actually live 5 minutes down the road. My parents live about 6 minutes down the road, so we're pretty close to most of our family. But anyway, I grew up as a video gamer. I did love video games. I loved the console when I had it. Had NES when it came out. Had to buy that. We had to save up for that. N64, we had to save up for that. And then I eventually bought a PlayStation for myself. But those were great, and I had a lot of fun with that. I still do play PC games in high school, college. I was big into the PC games. The only real board games that I played were RPGs, D&D. Played that all through high school. Played that in college, and so that was, I guess that's that part of the board game aspect I've done. But as far as getting really into like Massive Darkness, I'm looking at the table. Massive Darkness, Tau Ceti, these other ones that I've done. That really didn't start until a couple years ago when I was watching Tabletop. And ever since I've done the video, I've been trying to remember how it was that I stumbled on Tabletop since I started the channel, because I talked about that in the opening video in my about channel about trailer thing. I don't remember how I stumbled onto Tabletop. That's the thing. I don't remember. I remember I was trying to look something up, and I don't think it had to do with tabletop games or anything like that. But whatever I searched for, Tabletop was on there, and I started watching, and I was hooked. My first two tabletop games, I guess you would say, were Zombie Dice and Forbidden Desert were the two that I got. That's what started this whole thing. And that was a couple years ago, and I've just kind of slowly added to it. If I had to pick a genre, typically, if it's fantasy oriented, that's more my speed. I do love some non-fantasy stuff like, let's see here. What have I got that's not fantasy? I do have some. Well, Nemo's War is one. You've seen the playthrough of that on my channel. If you haven't, you need to go watch it. What else have I got that's not fantasy? Mars: A Story of Civilization, which I have not played through. I need to do a playthrough on that. I got that. I mean, so there are some Robinson Crusoe that are not fantasy that I do like, but I would say typically my favorites are fantasy for genre or sci-fi. Those are actually, gosh, I guess those are kind of almost equal. I probably have more fantasy stuff than I do sci-fi, but that's just the way it's happened. I have some sci-fi stuff, and I've got, I'll get more sci-fi stuff, I know, but yeah, those two are probably my favorite genres. As far as like Euro style, dungeon crawler, etc., etc., I'm gonna go with dungeon crawler. I like the idea. Now, well, let me go back. When I say dungeon crawler, that can mean a lot of things. Like, I would consider Massive Darkness a dungeon crawler, but then I like stuff like Masmorra, right? That's still exploration, but I still would consider it kind of a dungeon crawler. But that's kind of what I like the most. But look, the beauty to me of board games and the community of board games is that there is a myriad of options to choose from. There's all kinds of mechanics, there's all kinds of themes, there's all kinds of styles. And, I'm not going to say that there is no such thing as a bad game, because I don't know that I would commit to that. But, maybe not every game is for everybody, and that is perfectly fine. For me, the board gaming is as much about sitting down with some friends that or maybe you don't know. I mean, I've gone to my local game store a couple times, and I've sat down and played with people, or in other places other than my local game store, but that's one example. And I don't really know these people. I'll give you a good example. So, when I travel sometimes for my job, I'll be gone for like a week at a time, right? So this last week, I guess it was last week, that I was gone. I tried to do a live stream from the hotel. By the way, hotel Wi-Fi sucks. That was a bad idea. I don't know why I thought I could do that, but I did, and I was clearly wrong. But I have gone on trips, and I've found game stores, places to play close by. So on a trip, not too terribly long, in the last year or so, I went and, after I did what I needed to do for work, it was later on in the day, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go by and check this place out. I was just curious what they had, right? I didn't really plan on getting anything, because I was on this trip, and I just didn't want to carry it back. But I was like, I'll see, what they got. And I was kind of hoping that they had like the, what would you call it? Well, they had the games that you could just, like, if they had some open, you could play, just sit in there. And I thought, well, I'll do that. That would be fun. Maybe they've got something I've never played, or I could try to learn something or whatever. So I went in, and I'm just kind of like, browsing the shelves, and I'm like, oh, look at that. I have that one. I want that one. I know what that one is. I don't know what that one is. And I was looking at the X-Wing miniature. It had some Armada stuff, Star Wars Armada, but mostly it was X-Wing. And so I was sitting there looking at it, and there was a guy behind me, and he said, hey, do you play X-Wing? And I was like, no. I said, I read a lot about it. I watch tabletop, and I like board games. You know, this is the stuff that I love. I said, I've never played. I said, I've loved to play. I've never played, and it's not, you know, I don't really have like a gaming group. So getting together and saying, hey guys, let's all get together and play whatever, that, you know, that's usually not going to happen for me. I do that. I have some friends, but it's not like a weekly group or anything like that. And he said, well, do you want to play? Do you want to learn? And I was like, well, yeah, I want to play and learn. So, shortly after that, oh, here comes the dog again. So he said, well, the next day, I'll still camera. Then he said the next day, it was like on a Monday. He said, well, we're playing. We're gonna play X-Wing. Like the game store had like an X-Wing. That was their big night for X-Wing, basically. He said, but tonight, we're playing some D&D, and he said, if you want to stick around, you know, you can hang out with us. And I was like, cool. So I mean, I stayed till like, it was like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock that night. It was stupid late. But I mean, I literally had never met these people, right? No, I don't. It took me like 2.5 hours to think to ask the guy what his name was. I didn't even think about that. And I sat at this table, and like the people that came and played D&D were like, they just came in and sat down and started playing. And you know, we cracked jokes with each other, and we laughed at stuff and rolls and stuff. And I mean, it was like I was part of the group. That's what I love about the gaming community. And to me, in my experience, generally speaking, you do not find that in the PC world, PC gaming world. You typically don't find that in the console world. So that's what I love more about it. And I feel like when you're all sitting together at the table, whether you're playing a game or really anything, and it doesn't have to be a board game, it can be cards or something, but I just think there's something special, better, more rewarding, at least to me personally, about doing that, sitting down with people and just, you know, being yourself with other people and not in front of a TV. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I do still enjoy consoles and I do still play PC games, so I'm not saying they're bad, I'm not saying they're wrong. If that's your thing, go for it. It's just not mine. This is a genre that I love. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. That's quick, trying to keep these things short. If you think this is a good idea and you want me to keep trying to do it, let me know. If you think this is a horrible idea or that I did a horrible job, then let me down gently. Because, I mean, you know, if this is not something you guys are interested in, then I don't want to bore you with it. But I just thought it would be a good way to connect with you guys. And listen, if you guys have we'll just do this. We'll just start it this way. Send me, if you want to, send me your video and say like this. You know, let me know who you are, how you got into board gaming. Kind of the same thing I just did. Who you are, how you got into board gaming, favorite genre, favorite type, anything like that. Your interaction with the community and what you think, and I'll try to get those up if I get several. Well, I mean, if you're the only one that sends it, I'm going to put it up, okay? So, if you send it to me. And I'll put it in the comments below, or in the thing below, my email address. Just so you know, I will probably be using iMovie to put it all together, so just, if you can send something that is compatible with that, which most things are, there's not a lot that's not, but it needs to be compatible with that to make it easier for me to import. And, that way I can put it all together, and I can get it out there for you guys, and we can all learn a little bit more about each other. And I think that is all I got. So, this is the Board Game Roamer. Until next time, play lots of games, have a lot of fun, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.